We're out here trying to manifest our dream reality and make stuff happen when the universe doesn't even care about our goals, right? The universe doesn't even care if you're negative. We're out here trying to be positive thinking, trying to transform our lives, trying to hustle, trying to make stuff happen, when in reality, the universe doesn't give a damn, right? The universe is non-dualistic. The universe is unconditional love. The universe is yes, 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 yes. The universe is not seeing your bad situation as a bad situation. The universe is not seeing a lack of money in your bank account as a lack of money in your bank account, right? God or the universe doesn't intervene. It doesn't weigh things up. It doesn't measure. Only the ego, our brain, does this measuring thing. This is better, this is worse, this is up, this is down, this is round, this is square, this is male, this is female. Only us, only human beings create these labels, stories, and narratives, or beliefs, or belies about ourselves and about the world around us. When it comes to being negative, negativity is okay. It's just that we judge negativity as something bad. So these law of attraction gurus and teachers are teaching you, hey, like if you're negative, then you're going to manifest negative things into your life. If you're positive, you're going to manifest positive things into your life. And then what happens to people like yourself and others, they start judging themselves for being in a negative thought pattern, a negative loop, negative emotions. I've had a negative day, I had a negative month, I had a negative year. And we start judging ourselves on who we're being, and we're trying to reach this ultimate perfection version of ourselves because we want to be good little girls and good little boys, right? Follow the order, listen to what the gurus and the spiritual teachers say so that I can then manifest my reality. What if that's a pile of crap? What if that's a narrative that's being spun that's keeping you in a perpetual loop of staying stuck in where you're at? That actually being negative can be something positive. That actually being negative is manifesting, that in fact the concept and belief that if I am negative, I'm going to manifest something negative is the law of attraction in itself, because you now believe that negative things lead to negative outcomes. This is not true. If you don't believe that, then you won't see it and you won't experience it because you don't believe it. You receive in your reality, or you see in your reality, you experience in your reality what you believe. So they're projecting that negativity is bad, or negative emotions are bad and you should feel positive. And if you feel negative, you're not doing it right. You need to be more positive. You need to raise your vibration. It's a whole pile of crap. You don't need to raise your vibration when you understand what I'm going to be sharing with you towards the end of this video. So we need to let go of this idea and these narratives that are being spun and the belief systems that's being projected onto you, limiting self, right? The ego or the mind is limited, and we are operating and functioning from mind, from ego. Right? They say how powerful the subconscious mind is, how powerful your brain is, but the reality is your heart is 60 times more powerful in its electromagnetic energy than the brain. Brain is logical, the heart is illogical, right? And we're supposed to use our brains to protect our heart. The brain is the masculine, the heart is the feminine. And what happens in life, sometimes we don't learn certain boundaries or rules, or we don't understand people, and we get into a relationship and something bad happens, and then we get heartbroken, and then we start to learn to protect our hearts, and then we start developing this like kind of shield around ourselves and very wary of people and all this stuff. And it's just a big, large protection mechanism. But in reality, the heart just wants to be completely in her feminine. She wants to be expressed, whether you're male or female. Your heart wants to be completely open and expressed. And when the heart is completely open and expressed, you can receive or manifest, choose realities much easier because you're not in a limited mind. You can imagine the heart as a child that is, just playing around and is unlimited, and, she or he is going to do whatever they're going to do, and they're going to live out their lives and just play, right? They're on an adventure. They're in the imagination. They are free. That is the heart, right? The brain is like, well, this is not possible. I'm going to fail. Like, I need to construct a strong plan, and I need to do all this stuff. That's what the brain does. And I'm not saying that the brain is a bad thing. We need to use the brain, right, in order to navigate this reality. However, we need to listen to our hearts first. So we take the heart, feeling, emotion, experience, and then we use the mind to help navigate this reality, knowing that the heart is the truth. So like I said before, the heart's electromagnetic energy is 60 times more powerful than the electromagnetic energy of the brain. So your heart, or even God or the universe, is not judging your negative thoughts as bad. Your negative thoughts are God, right? If everything is energy everything is God or everything is the universe. And that means you are the universe. So everything is just one. And so there is no universe judging your negative thoughts or, negative emotions or anything like that. None of that is happening. All of that is the ego creating a narrative and story about who you are and what's possible for you. The brain is illusion. It's all matrix. It's all Maya. It's all nothing. We live in the mind. You see, a lot of us are walking around with our minds or our heads cut off from our body, right? We don't connect with the body enough and feel and experience life fully, or we're afraid to. And so we need to get back to who we really are and recognizing that you are the self beyond the mind. If you were to ask yourself that you was an alien, if you were to imagine right now you're an alien, you don't know anything about this planet, and you was just to arrive here right now and you didn't know anything, didn't know any words, didn't know the language, you would have no judgments, you would have no labels, you would have no judgments, you wouldn't know which is what and what is this, right? You would have no idea. It was just all over the place, right? And so the logic conditioning has actually gone out of the window. Your limitations no longer exist in the way that it does for you now. Everything that you know or everything that you believe is all lies. Surrender to the idea that the self that thinks it knows stuff, the self that has an IQ, intelligence, always going to be limitation. However, when we rise above that, when we step out of the mind, we remove labels, we see thinking, we see emotions, we experience them, we acknowledge them, we experience them, we see that the emotions are God, the thoughts are God, and the mind is also God, and that there is no separate self. And when you become present to all of that and not judging it, not labeling it, and just seeing it as energy, as a part of this experience of energy, doesn't matter about negative or positive thoughts anymore, because you've transcended duality, right? You've transcended pendulums. You've transcended up, down, left, right, indoors, outdoors, breathe in, breathe out, yin, yang, right? You've gone above, or you've realized that you are no longer this individual, this self that is individual from someone else. You see everybody as you, see everything as you. Everything that's surrounding me in this Airbnb right now is me. This voice you're hearing right now is you. You can't actually hear me. You can only hear what you hear, right? You can't hear me. You're not hearing me speak. You're only hearing you in your brain, right? Through your eardrums and your ears and stuff like this. You're not seeing a me. You're not seeing Gavin here. You're seeing yourself, right? You see me as a separate self, when in actuality, you are me, I am you. There is no separate self. And when you can understand that there is no separation, there is no negative or positive, it just is. It's unconditional love, period. So when you operate from that space of unconditional love, period, then you'll manifest what you want into your reality, period. Period, period, period. Right? Full stop, full stop, full stop. That's it. And they were over here thinking, oh, like I'm in a negative mood. I don't want to be in a negative mood. I don't want to feel like this. No, it's okay to feel like this. It's a part of the human experience, to experience duality, to experience the negative and the positive. It's when we judge it as something bad. I need to be over here because I've experienced the opposite of this, and this is not right, and this is right. Neither of them is right. Neither of them is wrong. They both just are. So when you're experiencing depression, when you're experiencing being down, when you're experiencing frustration, anger, that you don't want to go to work, or you don't like your job and you want to live a life of freedom and all this stuff, it's all the mind creating stories and narratives of this life is better, this way is going to be better, my life's going to be more amazing, I'm going to have more security, right? By doing that, you're denying God in your current reality. You're denying the negative. And what we need to do, we need to learn to accept the negative. We need to learn to surrender to the negativity, surrender to what is, because it's the same thing as your dream life. It might be perceived different in your hormonal system, in your neurotransmitters, right? Oxytocin, serotonin, dopamine. It will feel different. It's a different experience in the body. But in actuality, that reality, the new life, the dream life, and your current reality, frustrations or whatever it is you're feeling in the moment, is all the same. It's all energy. It's all God. It's all the universe. We want to look at the universe as something positive only, right? In terms of duality, but it's also the negative. It is all God. It is all the universe. We just see it as something I don't want to be feeling. I shouldn't be feeling it, when it's actually God. If you have a negative emotion inside of you, that's a part of who you are. Why would you want to push it away, right? If the emotion was a child, right? Would you want to push it away or get rid of it or try to change it? No. You accept the child for where it's at. And that's what we got to learn how to do, is that negative experiences and negative outcomes in our reality create the invitation for us to go within and have unconditional presence towards it, not judging it as anything, right? Just seeing it as energy, seeing it as God. And then what can we take from it? What can we learn from it? Is there a learning experience in this? You're probably thinking, well, Gavin, you know what? I've been through some really traumatic things in my life. What about that? That was negative. That was hard for me. That was difficult. I grew up in a ghetto. I grew up in a rough neighborhood. I've had multiple traumatic experiences. I'm not talking about little, like, oh, you got bullied in school. I'm talking about some real deep stuff here. And so I'm not saying this trying to convince you of an idea that I haven't gone through and experienced myself and trying to project onto you a lifestyle that leads you into abyss. No, I'm sharing with you something that will lead you back to who you really are, and seeing those experiences, which are only memories, by the way, as just energetic imprints in your body, because that's what trauma actually is. And I'm not gaslighting or denying your experience. What I'm saying is everything that you've experienced in the past, what people have done to you, the bad situations, the breakups, the divorces, the hardships, all of these things are just electrical signals flowing through your body. I'm sorry I said it. I'm sorry I said it. All of your experiences that you've experienced in the past is memory. It's electrical signals in your body. That is it. It's just energy. We put the emphasis, it's us that puts the emphasis that this is something very bad, very harsh, very difficult, very challenging, very hard. And I'm saying this with a pinch of salt here because, again, I've had traumatic experiences and my mind experiences it as something hard. But I also see it as energy. I also see it as a frequency. I see it as something that's a memory that's inside my body. And that memory can be altered. It can be changed. It can be transmuted. It can be used as fuel to navigate this reality, to learn the lessons from it, to achieve my goals, as allowing the pain to fuel motivation and success if I want to, if I choose to. Or I can choose to heal it or reprogram it. But essentially, we want to stop putting our traumas on a pedestal. We want to stop engaging so much in how much blocks we have and seeing it as something negative that we need to change about ourselves. The reality is you don't need to actually change yourself. You need to realize who you are, that you are not the self that's in the body that's had the subconscious blocks, that has the energy blocks and the traumas and all this stuff. The reality is you are the self that can see all of it, the presence that can see all of it. And in that space, you don't need to judge your blocks or whatever it is as something bad, right? Just is. It's not something good. It's not something bad. It just is. And having that unconditional love presence to the energies in your body, mind, subconscious allows you to transmute it much quicker, much faster. When we are engaged in the ego, trying to change it, or there's something wrong with me, or I need to become better, I've experienced this trauma in my life, I've had this stuff happen to me, and we're engaged in it with a judgment on it, we're stuck in the illusion of the matrix and you are not free. What I'm saying here is we need to learn to embrace our inner authority, step back and realize who you really are in the moment, and that you're none of it. You are none of your thinking. You are none of your emotions. You are none of your trauma. It's just stored memory in the body. You are the vehicle controller, the captain of your ship, the rower of your boat, the navigator of your plane, the pilot of your plane. You are God presence moving this body, right? You are God presence. You are universal presence, experiencing life. You see, the universe wanted to experience itself. God wanted to experience itself. And so we have the human, which can now experience life. And so God's vicariously living life through you if you let God vicariously live through you. And when you operate from that space of non-dualistic thinking, and you see life in this way, bad things can happen, tragic things can happen, difficult things can happen, but you're not judging it as negative. You're not judging it as bad. The body, mind, experiences these feelings and emotions, but it's the label that we give it that actually, how can I say, makes it feel different from what you would prefer to feel, because the preference of the subconscious or the brain is to feel better, right? Or feel like this, or feel these emotions. But it's because you have the conditioning and the reference point between good and bad, which is why you want it to change. If all you knew was this is how reality is and it's these tragic or whatever experiences, you would be completely fine. But you've been conditioned to know that there's better, right? Better is a function of ego. There is no better. There is no greatest version of yourself. It doesn't exist. If you really imagine the greatest version of yourself, it's unlimited. It's infinity. In fact, the brain can't even get there. It's not possible for the brain to even get to the greatest version of yourself. As soon as you've created the greatest version of yourself, there's already another greater version of yourself. And the greatest version of yourself is limited to one's thinking. When you transcend all of that, there is no self. There is no greatest version of yourself, because you are God, right? You are the universe. And that, my friend, is the authentic self. That, my friend, is the inner authority. That, my friend, is the God frequency. That, my friend, is isness. That, my friend, is truth. That, my friend, is who you really are. You feel me? And so this name, identity that we've created to construct it, is only limitation. What's possible for you outside of yourself, and how do you break free more from that? And all these teachings are very different, in that we can embrace the negative and surrender to it and be okay with our current reality, and that I don't need it to change. When you can get to that point where you don't need your life to change, which is easier said than done, but when you can get to that point, your life will change, because you're not trying to escape yourself. You're not trying to escape God. You're embracing the negative and the positive. You're embracing polarity. You're mastering your reality. So I know these teachings are very different and very unique, and it takes a while to progress and see the results of it in your reality, and it requires training and work. So if you would like to continue this journey with me, I have a 6-month journey, 6-month program to learn these concepts while learning things like identity shifting, reprogramming and stuff like this, but transcending this illusion completely whilst printing money too, if you're one of those people that want to print money, right? So the link's in the description. I'll see you in the next video. Peace.